In Vedic astrology, the placement of Rahu, the north node of the moon, is often viewed with a mix of trepidation and fascination. Rahu represents our unquenchable desires, obsessions, and the areas where we seek to break boundaries. When this shadow planet resides in the third house, the house of courage, communication, and siblings, it creates a personality that is relentlessly driven, unconventional, and inherently modern. The architect of innovation. The third house is traditionally associated with the element of air and the energy of Gemini, though its actual sign depends on your chart. It governs how we process information and interact with our immediate environment. With Rahu here, the native is rarely satisfied with traditional ways of thinking. There is an insatiable hunger to gather information, master new technologies, and communicate in ways that shock or disrupt the status quo. These individuals often become pioneers in digital media, journalism, or any field that requires out-of-the-box messaging. Courage and the risk-taker. Perhaps the most striking feature of Rahu in the third house is the immense courage it provides. In Vedic tradition, Rahu is considered upachaya, growing, in the 3rd, 6th, 10th, and 11th houses, meaning its influence actually improves over time as the individual learns to harness its chaotic energy. The native is often a self-made person. They possess a restless bravery that allows them to take risks others would find paralyzing. This isn't necessarily a physical bravery, though it can be, but rather a mental fortitude to challenge authority and forge an independent path. Dynamics with siblings and peers. The third house also rules younger siblings. Rahu's presence here can introduce a layer of complexity or foreignness to these relationships. The native might have siblings who live in distant lands, are unconventional in their lifestyle, or with whom there is a sense of intense competition or misunderstanding. Because Rahu seeks to be the center of its own universe, the native may struggle to fit into the standard sibling hierarchy, often feeling like the black sheep or the one who must carry the family's torch into unknown territory. The power of the voice. Communication for a Rahu in the third house individual is a tool for influence. They have a natural ability to spin narratives or see through the propaganda of others. However, the shadow side of this placement is a tendency toward manipulation or exaggeration. The thirst for impact can sometimes lead them to prioritize the effect of their words over the literal truth. When channeled positively, this makes for world-class marketers, captivating public speakers, and influential writers who can sway the masses with a single phrase. Material success and the long game. Because the third house looks directly at the 9th house of philosophy and higher learning, Rahu here creates a tension between raw, practical intelligence and abstract wisdom. The native is often more interested in what works rather than what is right by traditional standards. Over time, as Rahu matures, usually after the age of 42, the frantic energy of the third house settles into a profound mastery of one's craft. The initial restlessness transforms into a strategic brilliance that brings significant material wealth and social recognition. In summary, Rahu in the third house is the mark of a disruptor. It demands that the individual leave the safety of the known and use their voice, their hands, and their intellect to carve out a reality that didn't exist before them. It is a placement of high ambition, requiring the native to balance their fierce independence with the need for ethical communication. The sign Rahu occupies in the third house acts as the filter for how its chaotic, ambitious energy is expressed. While Rahu is generally strong in this house, the elemental nature of the sign dictates whether that drive manifests as intellectual brilliance, emotional intensity, or physical action. Fire signs: Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. In fire signs, Rahu creates a warrior mentality. These individuals are incredibly impulsive and courageous, often possessing a do-it-now, ask-for-permission-later attitude. In Aries, the focus is on raw initiative and being the first to try something new. In Leo, communication becomes theatrical and authoritative, they speak to be followed. In Sagittarius, Rahu can be more erratic, as it clashes with the sign's natural love for truth, often creating a person who challenges established religious or philosophical dogmas. Earth signs: Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Earth signs ground Rahu's restlessness into tangible results. In Taurus, where Rahu is often considered exalted, the focus is on wealth accumulation and sensory communication. They have a golden tongue for business. In Virgo, Rahu becomes the ultimate analyst, obsessed with data, details, and technical perfection. In Capricorn, this placement creates a relentless climber who uses their social network and communication skills to reach the top of the corporate or political ladder. Air signs: Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. This is Rahu's natural playground. In Gemini, Rahu is exceptionally powerful, creating a genius-level intellect or a master of media and manipulation. In Libra, the focus shifts to diplomacy and using relationships or artistic expression to move forward. In Aquarius, Rahu works for the masses, often making the native a pioneer in social movements, large-scale networking, or futuristic technologies. Water signs: Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Water signs make Rahu's influence more internal and intuitive. In Cancer, there is a deep emotional hunger to protect or communicate through feelings, though it can create a restless home life. In Scorpio, Rahu becomes a detective or a mystic, obsessed with uncovering secrets and speaking about the taboo. In Pisces, the energy is the most dreamlike, often leading to a career in film, photography, or spiritual writing where the boundaries of reality are blurred. While a natal placement describes your factory settings, a Rahu transit through the third house represents an 18-month window of time where the universe hands you a megaphone and a map to uncharted territory. Because Rahu thrives in the third house, an upachaya or growing house, this transit is often regarded as one of the most productive and empowering periods in an 18-year cycle. It is a time of becoming, where your self-effort finally begins to outpace your luck. The awakening of valor. When Rahu moves through your third house, the most immediate shift is in surge in personal courage. If you have been hesitant to launch a project, speak your truth, or stand up to an adversary, this transit acts like a shot of adrenaline. The third house is the house of Vikrama, valor. Rahu amplifies this to the point where you may feel invincible. You are suddenly willing to take strategic risks that would have terrified you a year prior. This is the entrepreneur's transit, where the desire to be self-made overrides the comfort of a steady, predictable routine. Revolution in communication. This transit fundamentally rewrites how you interact with the world. In the digital age, a Rahu third house transit often coincides with a sudden spike in social media influence, the successful launch of a podcast or blog, or a breakthrough in a writing project. Rahu is the planet of foreign and unconventional things. Therefore, you might find yourself learning a new language, mastering a complex technical skill, or using disruptive marketing tactics that catch people off guard. Your voice carries a certain magnetic, almost hypnotic quality during this time, making it an ideal period for negotiations and sales. The restless mind and short journeys. The shadow side of this transit is a profound mental restlessness. Rahu is never satisfied, and in the house of the lower mind, it can create a browser with 50 tabs open effect. You may find yourself constantly on the move, short business trips, weekend getaways, or just a relentless need to change your physical environment. While these journeys are often fruitful, they can lead to burnout if not managed. The mind becomes a sponge, but without the grounding influence of the ninth house, where Ketu will be transiting simultaneously, you may find yourself gathering information without immediately knowing how to turn it into wisdom. Reconfiguring the social circle. Relationships with siblings, cousins, and neighbors undergo a karmic reset during this transit. Rahu can bring sudden intense collaborations with siblings or, conversely, strange misunderstandings that force you to establish firmer boundaries. You may find that your old peer group no longer gets you, as Rahu pushes you toward people who are more ambitious, eccentric, or internationally minded. It is a time of networking with outliers, people who reside on the fringes of your usual social circles but who hold the keys to your next level of growth. Balancing the nodes, the Ketu factor. Crucially, while Rahu transits the third house of self-effort, Ketu transits the ninth house of fortune and teachers. This creates a specific spiritual directive, Stop waiting for a miracle and start working. The universe effectively turns off the tap of easy luck, 9th house, to force you to develop your own muscles, 3rd house. This transit teaches you that your destiny is not something that happens to you, but something you build with your own 2 hands. By the end of these 18 months, you typically emerge with a more powerful voice, a new set of marketable skills, and the realization that your greatest resource is your own unyielding will. Subscribe and be one click away from checking every planet house, every sign, and every transit.